going on, guys? This is part 2 of me removing my transmission and swapping to a 5-speed. In the last video, I messed up the taper collar on the main shaft, and I had to stop it there because I had to order it from Honda. And this is what the taper collar looks like. You see there's 3 prongs on it. I believe I broke this big one off of it, and I didn't know you had to line it up, but that's how that broke when I put the transmission case back on it. But I got this back now. It took me maybe a little over a week for this to come in. They had special order it from Honda, and I also ordered a new bearing for the top of the main shaft. I just did that out of precaution, just make sure that everything was good. Also ordered some turbo studs, exhaust studs for the turbo. All I had were just bolts going into the manifold. This will make it a little easier for when next time I take it on and off. That's the taper collar again, and I bought another exhaust gasket for the turbo. So yeah, I'm gonna get working on that, get this pulled off, get the bearing pulled off the main shaft, get this pulled off, put this one on, put the new bearing on, and then do the whole process again for putting the transmission back together and then putting it in the car. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. So to remove this top bearing here on the main shaft, I went and got this 3-jaw puller, and I put it on it's actually hooked onto the taper collar here, if you can see it a little bit. But I put that on there. I'm going to slowly turn this clockwise so it can pull this bearing off. I did it a little bit already. I don't know if you can see how it's raised up a little right here. So I tried it and it's going to work. So this is how I'm going to get the top bearing off the main shaft. Just use a 3-jaw puller and pull it off. I don't believe these are pressed on as tight as, say, all these other spacers and gears and all that. So this should come off pretty easy, and it should go back on pretty easy. So I'm going to take this off and then proceed. So I got the taper collar off. You can see there's the 3 prongs here. That one broke off. So this is what it looks like in comparison. So those 2 prongs back there, and then this prong right here is the one I broke off on this one. This is the new one, the old one. So that's the difference there. So this big prong here is what I broke off and messed up. So that's why I had to reopen the transmission again and then order this part. So now this will go right on here, just like that. And that just serves as a spacer because you have on your 6-speed you would have another gear right here, so that's why this is here. This is just to fill up space. Then you put your bearing back on it. I got the bearing back over there, but to put the bearing on, I don't have a rubber mallet or anything like that, so I'll probably just be using like a piece of wood and a hammer just to tap it on, because it's not tight on there. So the bearing like just loosely fits on here for the most part. So I'll be able to do that and get this back on, then reseal the whole transmission up, put it all back together, and then I'll be able to throw it in the car. So I got the bearing back on. Like I said, it was easy, not that hard. Spins freely, this spins freely as well, the taper collar, everything looks good. All I need to do now is get all this Permatex that I had when I first put the transmission back together. Before I take it apart, I get all this rubber stuff off, clean this surface, put the sealant back on it, make sure everything else is clean inside, because I did leave this open, which I really shouldn't have. I left it open for about a week and a half. So there's probably a little debris in here that I need to clean out. Make sure that's all cleaned out. Get it back together, and then finally I can actually put this in the car here. So let me get this all cleaned off and then put together, and then we'll put it in the car. everything back together. I got Permatex on it, as you can see. I got the springs with the ball bearings back in. I got the snap ring, which is going to be this piece right here. If you undo this, there's a snap ring that has to go back on. Got that. Got the selector in. Got everything in. Now I'm going to test it, make sure everything spins freely. So right now I'm in neutral. That's neutral. If I go to spin the main shaft, I should see that the bearing spin, or the differential spins, and it does. So I'm going to go to first. That's first there. Spins. Second. Spins. I'm just go through all the gears and do that. There's third. Spins. Fourth. Sorry, that's reverse there. I messed that up. That should be fourth. That's fourth. Then that would be third there. So fifth there. Spins. And then reverse. Goes in reverse. So everything's working like it should. My selector's working. My main shaft's spinning freely. The counter shaft's spinning freely. My LSD is rotating. So everything's working. So now I got everything back together. I'm gonna let this sit. Let this sit for a little bit. Let the Permatex all dry up. And then after that, I'm gonna put it in the car. Okay, I got the transmission bolted back up to the engine here. Also got the selector cables hooked up. I also got the transmission mount bolted back up too. So I got everything bolted back up that I need to get bolted back up. Now I'm gonna go test, make sure from in the inside, from the cabin, that I'll be able to select first through fifth as well as reverse. So let me do that real quick. Alright, so we got, that's first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and reverse. So all the gears work, they all go through them fine. I didn't bother filming putting the transmission back to the engine because it's just the reverse order of taking it off, so I didn't bother filming it. But now I just gotta hook all the little sensors back up and all the vacuum lines and get my turbo bolted back up and everything else, and then I'll be good to go. So I just got done bolting up my subframe, so I got subframe back on, bolted my hubs back up, the axles back in. You can't see right here, the axles are in. LSD works good, well, fits good, fits both my axles. So I got everything down here buttoned up. Still need to do a couple things up here. I got all my sensors hooked up, got all my lines where I want them to be. All I need to do now is get my turbo in here. I still need to get the stud out. I haven't done that yet, but I'm gonna do that. Then I get to put my turbo on, put everything back on, and then fire her up and see how she runs. Okay, so I just got done messing with this stud here. I finally got it out. It took me forever. So this is what it looks like. I drilled straight through that bitch. So that was sticking in there. I drilled straight through it. This is what it used to be. This is what it used to look like. It was a bolt like this, and the head snapped off of it, and it was just this, like a stud sticking out. And the only way for me to get it out was to drill it out. So actually, I didn't want to take the whole manifold off because it's a pain to take this whole manifold off with the engine still in the car, and there's not that much room from here to here, so I couldn't really get a normal size cordless drill with a drill bit. So I had to go and get, let me see, what did I do with it? Here it is. I had to get this 90-degree drill attachment, and all this does is stick in your drill here like this, and then you stick another whatever bit you're using right here. So I was able to use this to get in this tight space right here to drill that bit out. And then since this is just a hex bit, I had to get special drill bits that were hex bit as well, because the other drill bits I have were just your regular drill bits. So that's what I had to do to get that stud out. And so I got that out. Now I'm gonna put the studs in that I have, and then bolt up the turbo, get it all connected, get my drain line and feed line and all that connected. That's about it. That's all I gotta do. So this is how you install studs here. You put one of the nuts on backwards, and you put the other one on the right side up so the butts connect. And then you're gonna hold this one still while you tighten this one onto this one that you're holding still, and you get it really tight and snug. And then after you do that, take a wrench or whatever socket you want to use, you're able to turn the whole stud. And that's how you tighten it all up on there.
Ryan Little.
Yoga.
Okay, it's actually the next day. Last night I got everything buttoned up, got the turbo on, all the vacuum lines and all that back up. I've got all the coolant and oil in the engine. So now I just got to fire her up and take her for a little test drive, see how she drives. LSD, I still spin tires in second. That's ridiculous. Alright guys, just got back from that test ride. She runs good, she pulls strong. I'm gonna have to get used to that first through fifth a little bit. It's a little different than the 6-speed I'm used to, so finding each shift point's a little different. But over time I'll get used to it. She did good. I'm happy with it. Don't forget to give me a like. Don't forget to subscribe so you can be informed when what I do next. And thanks for watching.